So today we have a topic that needs to be discussed. That is a very crucial element or factor on the spiritual path towards an awakening, and this is one of the most important videos, I would say, in terms of being able to grasp a tool that we will be discussing here that can lead to a direct awakening of who you truly are beyond the name and form. And it's one of the biggest hurdles on the spiritual path, and I will maybe go into a little bit of a deeper discussion as to how to deal with it, because it can be a big challenge. It was a big challenge for me personally on my spiritual path, and now we're kind of at a state where you are your own master, basically, and it's true for everybody. The only difference, I'm not special. The only difference is that I kind of had a glimpse, basically. That's it. And it's good enough. It's good enough to kind of have a direct experience of your true nature. I mean, there's a billion spiritual books, a billion teachers out there, and the funny thing and the paradox about it is they're all trying to talk about this one thing, and this one thing of awakening. They're just trying to use 1,000 different words to it, but those words are kind of like pointers, basically. So I don't know where this video is gonna kind of go. I'm gonna kind of feel out exactly what needs to be kind of conveyed to you. That's kind of more appropriate, and hopefully it does have some value for you in you becoming your own master, basically. Now, it's not to make yourself into a master or hold another identity here. We're not trying to hold identity here and say, okay, I'm special, I'm my own master now, I don't really need anything. No, it's not like that. This is more of being able to give you a tool that, like I said at the beginning, just to probe a little deeper onto your path, and then hopefully it has the necessary benefit and touch to it to allow that deeper dimension to basically manifest through you. So, what is a spiritual teacher? So there's different types of spiritual teachers, right? There's some teachers that they don't really talk about awakening. They'll talk about other things around awakening. Then you get the direct spiritual teachers, right? So the teachings that I kind of do here are more on the direct kind of side. I also do talk about the other side of it because I did kind of be exposed to the other side of it, which did kind of help towards creating a conducive internal, not an external, an internal environment for awakening to actually blossom. And there's another group of spiritual teachers that kind of take a very externalized approach where there's an extreme doing, like to a point of absolute ridiculousness. It's just insane. It's just like you can drive yourself and do that for lifetimes and lifetimes and lifetimes. It will never get you in terms of progress, true spiritual progress of realizing what you are. So we don't have lifetimes to kind of wait for awakening to happen. We want awakening to happen now, right? The mind says it has to kind of happen now. That's the first thing. To pay attention and realize that I am not the mind. I am not the body. The emotions that are here is not me. So the disidentification, of and a dispassion of the material world is needed there to kind of prep you up for being able to receive what's here, and also to be able to receive the the guidance and the necessary facets to be able to allow that conducive atmosphere internally to be created in a very now I wouldn't say a structured manner, a structured, what am I saying, a structured um, mode, or a system. We're not really following a system here. So anything like that would result, if you have like a very structured outside externalized approach, or even internally, it can also be, those stuff can also be an obstacle. But the video title is about letting go of the spiritual teacher. And unfortunately, a lot of spiritual teachers that have gathered huge followings, if it weren't for these huge followings, they wouldn't be where they are. So they have a risk of being able to tell the disciple, some may do it. I don't really have that much to lose. So so that's why I'm kind of making this video. So even if this video blows up, or even if it doesn't blow up, I don't really care. But this is the truth, and this channel is more about just conveying to you directly what you are, directly being able to, giving you the tools and techniques and stuff. So in that sense, it's very beneficial for you. It's not very beneficial for me in terms of growing this channel, growing the platform. So over time, and you got to pay very careful attention to this, but even if you didn't pay careful attention to it, you'll see that there's a dependency relationship that happens between a spiritual teacher and a disciple. Now, I wouldn't really be classified as a spiritual teacher because I have nothing to teach you that you don't already know. It's impossible for me to teach you anything. All I'm doing here is just basically taking sounds, and I'm just making sounds that you are kind of understanding, basically, and you're kind of making sense of it. That's all I'm doing here. I'm not really giving you anything. You are kind of making the meaning up, but we're using language here as a tool to kind of, with hope that you're able to receive. So over time, you may develop a certain dependency on the spiritual teacher, maybe because they have a lot of wisdom, knowledge, experience, followers, status, whatever. The list can be endless. Money, that's a big one in today's world. Success is determined by how authentic a spiritual teacher really is determined by 100% by the financial factor. And the reason why I say this is because the more material success that the person has externally is considered to be a very highly spiritual person. And that's a very big misconception that is there. And we fall for that kind of a thing because we kind of experience life through our five senses. So our five senses, if we're able to notice, and this is the important thing, notice that these five senses are responsible for intaking information, and my mind and my brain may process this information and give it a meaning, and then I hold the meaning, and then I say that, oh, this is the right way, or this is the right path. Basically, there's no really right or wrong path, because all paths will eventually lead you towards realizing who you are. And there is the consciousness that is beyond the egoic self that is present and available for every single person. And this consciousness and this awareness that's there has a necessary intelligence to kind of direct your life in the way that it's supposed to go. So it basically knows the way. The real spiritual teacher is the spiritual teacher within yourself, not the one outside of yourself, right? And the spiritual teachers that even teach that will tell you that, go within yourself. But it's not so easy, because when you listen and you see and you observe, you tend to kind of trust these senses, because all your life you've lived and you've trusted these senses for your survivability. So we're not trying to mistaken survivability for spiritual awakening or spiritual growth or spiritual progress on the path. That can be a very big obstacle. So it's important that you understand what spirituality is. I have made a video about what is spirituality on this channel, so you can kind of watch that video to kind of get a grasp on it. But if you've been already following the series, you would understand that spirituality is 100% soul and 100% consciousness. So soul and consciousness, we very interchangeably using those words. The best word to describe what all these religions talk about and stuff is an absolute pure awareness. It's an absolute pure conscious awareness. And that's what it is. So from the direct experience of I had of what I am, the closest word, it's not this, but it's the closest vocabulary. If in the future I find better vocabulary, I will definitely use those words. But as far as I have come, conscious awareness is the closest. And this awareness is spoken of by very many teachers, but it's not that you kind of know this information and you kind of find out. You have to drop even the idea of that. So by me telling you what you are is not really me doing you a service in terms of you being able to realize what you are. And a lot of spiritual teachers, when they speak, they'll either can speak around that, or they'll basically, if the person that's there being able to receive, they're just not able to kind of see. In that sense, the spiritual teacher will kind of try to cut through the sheets of consciousness, so that what you are is like, the words have a certain vibration, because when I speak, it does not come from me, this personality, this ego structure. It comes from that place or that space or that dimension of what I am, and it comes from me to you. But there's no you. That's the weird part. There's no you, because what you are is that which I am. So it's basically me talking to myself, basically. So and with that intention that is there from that space, it knows it's a game for consciousness. So it's a consciousness speaking to itself and interacting with itself, and the whole thing is what they refer to in there's this word called Maya, which means illusion. It is a very good word to use, but it can also be very dangerous, because if one takes that as a belief system, then it can cause a lot of damage. So we kind of use a little bit of intelligence, a little bit of understanding, wisdom, and then we kind of go with the logic as well. To some extent, you got to drop logic, just so that the path itself does not become, you yourself don't become an obstacle on the path, basically. So there's a point of where you have to let the spiritual teacher go, and whatever you've learned, it doesn't matter. Wherever you are, it doesn't matter on your path. You just need to simply take the teachings and just trust that these teachings that you've been given, or the wisdom that you've been given, is sufficient. And there is an important aspect of a spiritual practice, a regular spiritual practice. Not that you need to do it, it's just that it creates a certain recognition, and it has a certain direction in your life that kind of becomes more settled into your experience, so it's more integrated into your very way of being, basically. So when we speak about being, what are we speaking about being? Being means, and there's many different words, but when they speak of beingness, being, just being, simply being. There's no doing. It's just is as it is. And what does that mean? Is as it is. It means that it is pointing towards something that is unchanging. So everything that's part of your experience is part of a changing phenomenon. So that is always going to be something that is false. So why do I kind of do these, these spiritual teachings? It does help, clear sometimes of the samskaras that may arise. That's one. The other thing is, other people who are meant to hear this kind of benefit from this as well, because we're all kind of connected. Basically, we're all kind of connected. So there's no such thing. A truly liberated being is a being where the whole entire planet is all enlightened. That's a truly not only the planet. Let me let's just forget about that part that I said. The entire existence is enlightened. Then the being is truly enlightened. But the paradox is, it was never not enlightened. It was never not that there, because it is beyond the creation itself. So the language can kind of get tricky, and the language can, so this is why it is important that when you the spiritual teacher that you find or you follow and stuff, there has to be that level of awareness that is really there, present, and that spiritual teacher lives that truth, not just speaks about it, lives it, is an absolute example of that there. And to be able to see that, it does take a lot of guts, because even it may not come off as it physically, but internally it's always there for that spiritual teacher. So you can form an attachment, of the five senses, because you kind of finding like, okay, through this person I will become enlightened, or this person may do something. The spiritual teachers, they play these tricks with their disciples, and it can have the disciple running around in endless circles, and that's not really coming from a genuine teacher or genuine source. The genuine teacher, the genuine source will tell you that it will tell you stop right there. It'll tell you stop where you are. And the reason why they tell you stop where you are is because there's nowhere to go, there's nothing to achieve, there's nothing to realize. They may say, do all of these things so that you come to the realization that you need to stop, basically. So those types of spiritual teachers kind of understand the mechanics of how the system works. They kind of see the system, how it works. So when they interact with people, it's very visible to them. So because they see that it's very visible to them, they kind of always establish in that state. Even not even saying anything can be a very powerful teaching for somebody as well. And just being in presence itself. So you got to be careful of the trap. You have to kind of find the necessary willpower to let go of all spiritual teachers of mankind, irrespective of how great they may have been produced on this planet, or you've heard of them, whatever it is. You have to drop it. You have to drop it. Even the teachings itself, you have to drop it itself, because the teachings is literally words and sounds that you are kind of interpreting and giving a meaning and thinking that in the mind, because identified with the thought and mind, that this is it. basically. And that thought that this is it, or I've found the right person, that becomes a hindrance on the path. So it becomes the obstacle, because now the focus is all outward, it's not inward. So if you find that with a spiritual teacher you are going more inward and you're becoming less dependent on their teachings, then the spiritual teacher that you have found is kind of beneficial for you. Then it's really beneficial for you, because then now you can make true spiritual progress. A true spiritual teacher will push you back, continuously push you back into yourself. That's a true spiritual teacher. Now in my life, I've had both. I've had the worst of the worst. I've had the in between. I've had the best of the best. And what did I do to deserve the whole entire full spectrum? Nothing. My consciousness, that awareness, that primordial awareness that is there, is constantly functioning. And there was a lot of resistance in between, of letting go of the spiritual teacher and holding on and clenching and saying, I found something that is very important, and this is it. This is the person. This person is like the incarnation of God, or the incarnation of Buddha. He has finally come. The great one has finally incarnated, and I have found this person. So that ego can kind of, that identity, that this is it. It's outside of me. I found an answer outside of me. And the true spiritual teacher will push you back into yourself and tell you, I'm not it. The words that I utter is not it. Don't read the books outside. Read this inner book. Those are the real teachings. And those teachings are not really teachings itself. Those are basically pointers towards turning you in a direction to yourself. And yeah, that's about it for this video. I kind of don't feel like anything else wants to come out from that space, but this topic is I struggled with this for many years, but yeah, how the path has unfolded is such a beautiful experience, and I hope that this video specifically can kind of penetrate that egoic self, and maybe may it be dismantled, basically. But anyway, thank you for listening. And if you all have, I don't even know if anyone watches these videos till the end, but if you all have any questions, and the part of the questions is important, because there's an exchange from that space, and when that exchange actually happens, in turn the content that gets produced is more tailored towards the collective that has that be joining in the space. That's one thing. I'm doing a retreat, an online Zen retreat. If anyone wants to join that, it's on the 21st of March. It's only limited to 50 people, and the whole entire thing is just designed to really penetrate and really try to try to go through directly at it, and in that opening there can be an awakening experience that can be realized. So it's an attempt for that, and even if it's not your intention for that, and it's something that you want to kind of deepen your inner journey, then it'll be a perfect retreat if anyone wants to join for that. I will put the I'll put the links in the description. I'll put all the titles and whatever and whatnot in there. And then even if you go to the profile page on Mystics Perception, you should find the link to purchase the tickets on there. So yeah, it's already available there, but if for some reason it's not there, I will still also put it for the other individuals who kind of lazy to go there. But yeah, anyway, thank you, and we'll see you guys in the next video.